And let's welcome to the show retired NYPD Inspector Paul Mauro. Paul, thanks for joining us. Obviously, this suspect deserves the presumption of innocence, just like everybody else. But based on what you've seen, what we've learned, how solid does the case against him look?
Well, obviously, the police here have held their cards very close to their chests, and it was really a remarkably leak-free investigation. I mean, especially a task force that large. But there is a subtlety here. They went to the prosecutor's office, filed an affidavit. They had to go in front of a judge to get probable cause, and so they executed this warrant out in Pennsylvania. This is, it sounds very bureaucratic, but what this means is that a judge blessed the arrest. This is not like a summary arrest that occurs on the street with a uniformed cop. And so that argues that they have put together, in their mind, what they think is a very solid case. They hit the probable cause level. The judge agreed with that. And so I think that they certainly feel sure that this guy is involved. Whether he is the only person involved remains to be seen.
Okay, now you've been out there, you were in Idaho. As you kind of survey the landscape and you look at what we do know, obviously close to the vest from the police on the evidence, but given the circumstances, what we've learned about him as a criminal justice student, what does it say to you looking at that set of facts?
Well, a couple of things jump out at me. First of all, it does look like the white Elantra may have been a break in the case. I mean, it's something they were still very, very focused on, and it sounds like they've recovered it. The other thing here is that, and the reason I think that might be important is because, and it didn't get a lot of attention, but behind the house, there is a small parking lot. And it's a very advantageous spot for a guy like this because you can look down into the second floor. And you can see a lot of the second floor from that parking lot. It's right there, so it gives you a good vantage point. And again, we have to remind ourselves that, no matter how heinous the crime is, he's still innocent until proven guilty.
That's right.
But that said, the Elantra being in and around that parking lot could be something that, the police looked at very hard. The other thing is that Pullman is right there. I know we were all very focused on the University of Idaho, but just the way it worked out, when I was out there a few times, as you say, the town had gotten very crowded, town of Moscow. And so just the way it worked out, I ended up staying in Pullman. And one of the things that struck me is, well, there's another school right here, which is significantly larger than the University of Idaho. And I asked around while I was out there is a lot of cross-pollination between the two schools.
Okay.
And it does turn out that he was actually a student at the other school. What his connection is to University of Idaho and to this house is obviously a primary question now.
Okay, I know a lot of parents horrified watching this story, and not just parents of University of Idaho students, but nationwide. I don't know if you have any advice as their kids are heading back for the second semester. At this point, I know we're still trying to figure out what exactly happened.
So you go to a very salient point, James. So, we walked the area out there, myself and Lawrence Jones, who was way out front on this case, and we noted that there are no ring cameras anywhere in the area. This is a student, there were other homes there, non-student, but mostly it's student housing. And there are no external cameras on any of the homes. And so it's one of those things that, if it were my child going away at this point, stay together. We've had a lot of crimes across the country unrelated to this, in and around campuses. It's something that's really developing as the urban areas in the country have more and more violent crime. So I would be thinking in terms of sticking together, making sure that you have a very clear and visible external camera, very ostentatiously placed, so that it makes people think twice. Because some of these areas, New York City, you can't walk down a block without being filmed 6 times.
That's right.
In some of these areas, that's just not the case, and it was probably, certainly one of the things that held this case up is the police put their thing together.
Probably going to be a lot of discussion about that on campuses going forward.
So.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.